He's on Nancy Grace all the time. He's on Fox 5 Atlanta in the morning. And today he's coming on our show to talk about what is basically taken over. The fact that people just really, really like big.
You okay?
They're just really getting into it now.
Yeah, well, they
And we have
certainly
got
don't
to
shy
change
away
that
from it.
mindset.
Yeah.
And Dr. Titus Duncan is here
Yes.
to give us some alternatives to the bigness.
Well, say what you used to always say to me. Elle, when are you going to get that fat girl off your back?
Well, the fat man's usually at the door.
Right.
Shout out to Ronnie Jordan. He's at the door. He has
Right.
cookies. He has cakes. He has pies. And you answer the door, and next thing you know, I think Lee Haney said it best. It's like when you're born and when you go through high school and college, you weigh whatever you weigh, and then you add on something. And next thing you know, the same heart and the same set of lungs and the same kidneys are carrying around an extra 2-3 people.
Right.
And it's like, hey, man, I ain't asked for all this.
We ain't built for this.
As Dr. Duncan said last night, your body just says, I'm not doing this anymore. And says, what we talking about, your pancreas? Your pancreas says, I quit.
Oh, your pancreas, your liver, your lungs. You got a lot of portions in your body that actually just kind of give up. There's that particular area in your body that there's the syndrome of straw that breaks the camel's back.
Right.
So your body puts up with a lot. Over the years, we do a lot of things, a lot of bad things to our body. And at some point in time, the body just says, enough's enough, and it quits. And
Right.
so we lose a lot of life primarily because we don't realize that.
And before you go turning, to stay, oh, man, I'm going to the vending machine. Before you go doing that, we got some solutions today. I promise you. But, Dr. Duncan, tell the story about the child that gets hit by the parent not being able to save the child. I think this is, it kind of speaks volumes to what we're going to be talking about today.
This is one of the most heartwarming stories that I'd ever heard. One of the patients that I had seen who had made the decision. She had been obese all her life. But all of a sudden, she made the decision that she was going to have this quote-unquote weight loss surgery. She had heard a lot about it. She thought it was dangerous. She didn't think that it was for her. But she decided she came. So I asked her, why did you decide to have this particular operation? She says, Doc, what happened was I was sitting in the park, and I was with my kid. He was 2 years old. And we were sitting on the ground. He was playing around. I kind of turned around a little bit. The next thing I know, I turned back around, and he wasn't there. He ran out actually in the street. And we were in a park that has a busy street. He ran actually in the street, and I couldn't get up from the ground in time enough to go out and save him.
Wow.
He got hit. He didn't die. I'll put it that way. He did not die. But the fact of the matter, it affected her life so badly that she says that she was not there for her family. And that's one of the things that a lot of people come in and tell me nowadays is that Doc, it's not all about me now. I realize that. I used to think that I like the way I look with a little bit of meat on my bones. I like that. Well, when I found out that there were things that I couldn't do that I used to be able to do, and it affected my family, it affected my wife, it affected my kids, it affected my ability to be able to play with my grandkids. That's when I made a change in my life that something needed to be done about it. So I guess I agree with you wholeheartedly because you're absolutely right. Life nowadays is not all about us. There's somebody out there who loves you. There's somebody out there who wants you around. And you got to think not only about you got to think about somebody else.
When we come back, we're going to have more. There's some stuff going on in science that, you may not have seen on CNN or anywhere else, but we're going to give it to you. And you may be surprised that there are some solutions that might just be covered. More with Dr. Titus Duncan in just a second, all right? Don't go to the snack machine. V103. Dr. Titus Duncan joins us in the studio right now on the Ryan Cameron Show. The formula for healthy lifestyle is what we're discussing. Okay, if somebody, Dr. Duncan, is listening right now and they're saying, okay, what could I possibly do if, the dieting part is, I'm just a little bit past that. What can I do? What can you do? What would I come to you for?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a surgeon, and And whenever I say that word, people sort of cringe. That's all he wants to do is cut. But, I got into this primarily because, being an internal medicine or a family practitioner, you have solutions for medical weight loss. So you can give a pill. So you can start with a pill, but we know that when a person gets a number of pounds overweight, that diets don't work. And a lot of people in the audience will probably disagree, but for the most part, the science shows that if you're anywhere between 75 to 100 pounds over your ideal body weight, you can try every diet in the book, but every single one of those patients will lose weight with that diet, but 100% of those patients will regain that weight back. And that's just the science behind it. So if you're only 20, 30 pounds overweight, 40 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, you can go on Jenny Craig Weight Watchers. You can go on any diets you want to, and you will lose the weight, and you can probably keep it off. But the science says if you're in that range where you're up to 100 pounds over your ideal body weight, you can lose the weight temporarily for 6 months, 7 months, but you will regain it back. So what can you come to me for? You can come to me because I do weight loss surgery. We do medical weight loss surgery, and we do other things as well in our institution. We always try the least invasive procedure first, and that is medical weight loss. So you come into the office, we look at you, we evaluate you. We evaluate your aging process because obviously the more you weigh, the faster you age. And people don't know that. People don't know that fat is what's called a cytokine. And a cytokine is one of those inflammatory enzymes that actually age your body. But anyway, we evaluate you to see how much you weigh and how much weight you need to lose in order to become healthy and in order to stop the deterioration of your body. And then we suggest to you certain things. So we'll suggest medical weight loss. We'll try that for a while. But if you come in and you're 100 pounds, 150 pounds over your ideal body weight, and you have heart disease, you have diabetes, you have sleep apnea, you have all these medical problems, then surgery is probably your best bet. Because, again, there's been no question about it that the number one treatment today for type 2 diabetes,
Right.
for sugar that we call it, for people who are overweight is surgery. For people who are obese, the number one treatment for the day, the number one curative treatment for the day is for type 2 diabetes is surgery. Nobody knows that. Everybody knows about the newest drug, the newest insulin, the metformins. Everybody knows about the Avandale because that's what the medical doctors will give them. And I don't have any problems against any sort of pharmaceutical agent at all. But the data now shows because doing a gastric bypass for people who have type 2 diabetes is a very, very tremendous thing. And I have a very, very special thing against type 2 diabetes because I had two uncles that had type 2 diabetes. And both of them were overweight, both of them were obese, and both of them died of complications related to the type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is a disease. It's a different disease because it's not a fast death.
Right.
Because what happens is that, first of all, they start to lose a little bit of their memory. Then they lose their kidney function. They'll get on a dialysis machine. Then they start to lose the peripheral vascular supply of their legs, and so they become amputated. And then so they're bedridden. Then they have a heart attack, and then they have a stroke. And both of them died. But the problem is both of them died before the age of 50. So diabetes is not a thing you can play with. And diabetes is one of those things that I have this passion about, primarily because it's, again, a very, very devastating disease that people will die from if it's not treated adequately.
We got more coming up. 741 WV.